Hello everyone and welcome to Healthy Knitting. My name is Rosie and you can also find me on Ravelry as LASPETISLUXES, and we have a Ravelry group over there as well. I'm early. Today is November 26, 2013. So I wanted to get this out before Thanksgiving because I had a lot of things to talk about. And if I waited, it would just be overwhelming by the time I got back. And we all know I forget things. So first, I'd like to start out with thank yous. And thank you for everyone who is sticking with me because I know I'm a little sidetracked, a little crazy, and I really don't intend to be that way. Things are slowing down a little bit in my life, or I'm preparing more, making myself a little bit less complicated. So we'll see how this goes. I do have something to do in 40 minutes, so I'm going to split this in half because I do believe this is going to be kind of long. I've got a lot of things to share with you today. So let's get started. New and good. Oh, a lot of new and good. I think I told you last week I had some fibery things going on this weekend that were going to be really fun, and I did. I went to Dancing Lamb Farm in Earlton, New York, which was only an hour and 15 minutes away, and they have Icelandic sheep. They used to make cheese and had a dairy there, which was really cute to see. The fleeces were in the milk house. It's kind of fun. If anybody's watched me before, you know I used to have cows and I used to be involved in the dairy industry, so milk houses are very familiar to me, and it was really cute to see the tiny little milk tank. Tiny. Really cute. I can't even imagine milking a sheep. I do buy sheep milk feta cheese. It tastes really good. I really love sheep cheese. It's great. But they're so cute and tiny. It's like you can just pick them up and I thought goats were, and goats can be tiny too. There are smaller goats, but Icelandic sheep, oh my gosh, they're so adorable. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in spinning. Let me write that down because I don't want to forget. I have so many things to tell you about today. And on Saturday night, I went to go see the Judith Tulloch Band, and her last name is spelled Tolluch. They are a local Beacon band. We have a lot of really good musicians over here, and I'm sure you do where you live too. If you really love music, start seeking things out. Look at the event calendars that are going on in town. Talk to people. It's so nice to be able to help out and support local artists. I mean, this woman, her voice is so good, I can't understand why she's not famous. Like, maybe that's just something she chooses not to do. When I talk to her next time, I'm going to ask her because they are so good. Her voice is amazing, really amazing. So I bought a couple of her CDs and was listening to them the other day when I was cleaning up before the realtor got here. Oh, that's another thing I was going to tell you about. And she's a friend of mine in my painting classes, and but I was vacuuming to clean up because I don't really want people seeing all of the cat hair, and although I sweep, it's a lot different when you vacuum. You can really, really, really clean up. So I actually broke that out and started cleaning up with the vacuum cleaner. So anyway, local artists, musicians, see what you have in your area and enjoy. Music is such a wonderful way to get together with people and connect and have a good time. I try to do it every time I get a chance. I really do. And I'm getting my hair cut later today, so my hair looks really bad. Not only is it, today's wash day, but because they're going to be washing it anyway, I'm like, I don't really have time for this. So I'm wearing a hat. So next time you see me, I will have probably no hat and nice, cleanly, fresh, washed, styled hair. Okay, so, and on Sunday, my friend who was in my group got her wheel that she'd been waiting for like 7 years. And so we had a little spinning party at her house, which was really fun, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into spinning. And yeah, to show you what I was spinning, and I keep doing that thing. I'm going to stop. I'm sorry. I know it's annoying. It's annoying when I watch it back and I go, why can I not do that? I don't know why I do that. I don't do it when I'm not talking to myself. So Anyway, let's keep moving along here. Catalora, who is with us right here, was the kitty cat that I wound up taking to the vet last week. Here she is with a little shaved belly because she had ultrasound and an x-ray, and she did really good for them. And she has some kind of weird itis in her stomach, and it's along with her pancreas and a couple other things that are a little inflamed. And she's on special food now and also medications, which I hate, but I don't have a holistic vet near me, so I'm going this route. And she hasn't vomited since, so that's great, although now everybody's on this food right now because it's very difficult for me to, I don't want to lock everybody up again. I have gone through this with, I just want my house to be open and let them play and run around and get used to each other, because when we move, we're moving, although my house is tiny, it's going to be even different there because it's 2 floors and you have to go outside to get downstairs. So yes, it'll be open, most of the time because it's a fenced in area and everything, which, I'm so grateful how I found this place with everything that I wanted. A fenced in area for the cats, that I could have the cats, a garden, because I really want to have a good garden. Lakeview, great location. Seriously, God was looking out for me. So anyway, they all need to get along. I can't have any of this, well, you can't be in this room with this cat. So that's it. Because Buddy the orange cat, everybody beats him up because he doesn't have any fingernails. I got him this way as a rescue, and it really took a lot out of his little means to defend himself. So the other cats just pounced on him when he was brought into their territory, and he just turned into a little wimp. But he's doing much better now. They seem to be getting along. He kind of lives in this room now instead of my bedroom. He has a chair to sit on, and other ones will come in, and he's okay. And they don't try to beat him up anymore. So we're getting somewhere. So the last thing I want to do is really close them off again and cause any problems. So anyway, and Sally, the little foster kitty, is doing really good. She's tried to hide in the basement quite a lot, but I thought I lost her. I was like, how could she get out of the house? I looked everywhere for her. On top of my breaker box was a little space about this big. I'm not kidding, like just enough for a cat, and she got herself in there. I was looking everywhere for like an hour for her. And I found her now. Nobody's allowed in the basement now. So everybody's on 1 floor. So the cats are doing okay. 2 more are going to the vet today because now that everybody else is not vomiting, she was not vomiting, she's vomiting. So she's going, and another one. Everybody needs to get checked before I can get them to go anyway. So I'm going for one, I'll go for another one. And okay, so my realtor friend came over. So although I'm not going to say that it's bad news, it's just not news that I wanted to hear. Because sometimes we don't know the master plan for things. And although we may think we know what we want, we may know what we want, but we may not know the in-betweens of the best possible scenario for us, for our life. I just have to have a little faith that selling my house right now is not a good idea. I can't, basically what I owe is the value of my house. So unless I sold by myself and I could possibly get my mortgage, but that would be a lot more difficult than me hiring a realtor to do it and all that kind of stuff. And so I think I'm going to rent. So I'll start looking around for that, and I have some ideas. I will keep you posted as we move along with that, but that was the news. So not what I wanted to hear, but maybe it's just not what was supposed to happen. So you just have to keep the faith, right? Okay. Oh, I need to write something down because I will forget to tell you about this. And I don't want to forget to tell you about this because it was really amazing. Okay, so that's about it for new and good. We are going to, oh no, that isn't good for new and good. Mamma mia. Okay, I came across a couple of apps that I wanted to talk to you about that I thought were really great. And one of them we're going to discuss a little bit later in the recipe section because I do have one today. I came across, I think I told you, I take a lot of classes. I love to learn. I'm one of those perpetual learners. And I take classes through Ed2Go, and that's through my local BOCES. But you can be a student anywhere in the whole world, because there are people in classes all over the place. It's really fun. So right now I'm taking a class on photography, and my teacher, who I took a lot of writing classes from, sent out an email to all of us saying, hey, there's this new place and my classes are all on sale right now. So there's a Black Friday sale going on. The website, I believe, is udemy.com. I'm not sure, but if you just do a Google search for UDEMY, you will find their catalog. And the classes, some of them are so ridiculously inexpensive, especially with this sale. I was like, okay, sure. Same thing like Craftsy. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so if you go through the course and you don't like it, you can get your money back. So I'm taking several courses from them, and they have a bunch of free ones as well. So head on over there and take a look. It can't hurt to take a free class, right? It's free. There's no limit, like I have to take it within 3 weeks, 6 weeks. It's an ongoing thing. You can take it whenever you want, just like Craftsy. Once you have it, you have it. And we'll talk a little bit more about Craftsy too, because I did finally go through most of my classes that I bought, because like I said, I like to learn things. I am learning how to make more time in a day, just put it that way, to get everything done that I want to get done. But anyway, I'm trying to find let me just go back to what the app looks like. Well, anyway, it's because now you're just going to see my whole thing, all of my apps on here. But UDEMY, and check that out if you like to learn, and variety of different classes all over the board, everything. The other thing I was going to tell you about is called Ziplist. Ziplist. By the way, the apps are both free for these. This is Ziplist. I was hoping not to have some glare here, because there are some things I want to show you later. So Ziplist was something that I found when I was looking up a recipe. I had a couple of ingredients, and at my friends, when we spin, we always bring something that's kind of potluck. So I had butternut squash and pomegranates, and I was like, I wonder what I could do with that. And I found a recipe. So Ziplist is a way for you to put shopping lists and recipes, and it can be on your phone, your iPad. So if you're in the grocery store, you can actually have all of the ingredients listed, check them off as you get them, and they separate them in categories, which is great because you're not looking all over the place. Oh, I was just in the vegetable aisle, now I'm over in the other aisle, and I have to go back to the vegetable aisle. They're all separated, so that makes it very handy to shop. You can put your own items in there, I believe, if you wanted to. I haven't checked it out too much. I just did that one, and it was great. The recipe was really good. Everybody seemed to enjoy it. I had some more of it that evening when I got home, so we'll talk more about that recipe later. So 2 apps for you to check out. Okay, so knitting. I've had some interesting things happen with my knitting this week. So we have a lot of really, and we're just gonna do them at the same time because it's all that I have on the needles. So you know, that I have been knitting the cover of the Noro Now. Check it. And I was deciding whether to use long sleeves or short sleeves, and I said, I blocked it out, and it was great. It did block out nice, but it's not something that I want to do this with because it's a bulky yarn. It just made me feel too thick. And it looks nice. You'll see it does not have any sleeves on it at all, but the sides nothing's woven in yet. The sides are seamed. And I had some interesting things happen with this. I did the collar twice already at one point, and then I realized when I put it on, I'm like, I don't really like that kind of collar where the collar, can you see, here is the edging of the ribbing, and the collar I started here. I don't know why, that's not what the directions say, but my head, I have this thing with directions that I read them very quickly. I think I know what they're saying because apparently I think I know better. I don't know what it is. It happens all the time. Anytime I don't really, and we'll see this more, I don't really like look at it clearly and understand what I'm doing and not make up what I think they're doing. This happens to me quite a lot. So you'd think I would know better by now, like after 3 times, that I wouldn't do this anymore, but I still do it. It drives me insane. Probably because that is the way I am with things right now, that I'm not even paying attention to much at all. But I'm getting better. I've got most of the things under control that have been going crazy lately. So anyway, I had to rip back the collar and redo it and come over all of the stitches so that I had a nicer collar, which I really like now. The collar is fantastic. I love big collars. So that was done. So what happened was, I've got such a mess over here. Oops, I'm dropping yarn. I made the sleeves, and they're too small because I didn't switch to the 10.5 needles. You start on 9s, you do the ribbing, and then you switch to the 10.5s. This happened on the other sleeves. I'm going to show you in a minute too, but I didn't rip it out. So they're too small. I got it on, but it's so tight that it looks really ridiculous. Like it's pulling this part and I can't get it on all the way. Looks cute as a vest too, but I definitely realized that the short sleeves are going to work out just fine. I just need to redo them now, and I decided to see what it looked like anyway, so I did sew up the other sleeve because, oh, I wanted to tell you this. And some stuff got cut out. I really still don't understand iMovie. I wound up clipping something and I just double clicked it to get my mouse off of the clip, and it deleted it. And deleted it so seamlessly that I was like, didn't I talk about that when I was listening back? I had to go over and over and over. I'm like, that must have been the part that I accidentally clicked on, and it just deleted the whole thing. So I was talking about the when directions say to pick things up and do ribbing, and they tell you pick X amount up and then X amount, which is what was indicated in here. It's this designer, and I'm not sure why, wanted you to pick up a different number of stitches for this ribbing band on the bottom versus all the way up through the top. I did wind up getting the same amount of stitches that she had called for by just picking up every 3 stitches and then skipping one, every 3 skipping one, every 3 skipping one. So you can do this. You can knit 2, skip 1, knit 2, skip 1, knit 3, skip 1, knit 3, skip 1 to get the look that you're looking for. If you picked up 1 for 1 around a vertical object, you're going to have too much material here and it's going to be all bumpy. So I find it easier to just do that than to count and tell you what the designer, I mean, they're looking for a specific number based on the repeat that you're doing. And that's really all that you have to do. So if you pick up 1 extra or 1 less, you can kind of fudge it after you've gotten your band in place instead of just going crazy, because I used to go crazy with that until I found out this little rule, and I was like, well, that just makes things so much easier. It is very similar for when you're picking up collar pieces. And I didn't follow her collar pieces either, and I wound up with the same number. When you're picking up, you still on anything that is not, like, see how this is kind of sloped? So anything that's sloped, you can still do the 2 for 3, 3 for 4 roll. But once you get on a horizontal plane, you're going to want to pick up 1 for 1. So the back was all 1 for 1 around the neck. So for every stitch that I bound off, I picked up 1 stitch. But for all of this vertical sloping business, I picked up the 2 for 3. So all you want to do is make sure at the end that it matches your pattern repeat. And that's very simple to do. You take the number divisible by whatever it is. This was 2 by 2 ribbing. So in order to make it match, you just minus 2 and then make sure it's divisible by 4. Piece of cake. So that had to get ripped out. So this, although it's, I mostly knit this in 2 days because it's big needles. It's 10.5. It's super chunky yarn, but it just sat because of when I'm figuring out what I'm doing with the sleeves and then having to rip the collar out 2 times. So the collar's been done 3 times already, and now I've got to redo the sleeves. So that'll probably get done soon. And then it looks like the same yarn, but it's not. I mean, it's the same yarn, it's a different colorway. I decided to make this sweater. Can you see that? Yes. Okay. And I love the colors in there, but I decided that orange, that bright of orange is really not something that looks good on me. My skin tone just doesn't really do that fantastic with orange and yellow. 20 minutes left. So I have put all the, I need to block it. So I have all the pieces. Here are 2 sleeves. And here's the back. And here's the front. And so I need to just block this now, and then I can put it together and make the collar. I'm kind of concerned that I don't have enough yarn left. This is about all I have left. But I do have a lot extra left of the other colorway, and there are some colors that I think I can mix and match if I can probably start with that and then end with the other one. I want a nice big collar because I like my neck warm, and I do like turtlenecks. I know some people hate them, but I've loved turtlenecks. It either has to be kind of like, I don't like necks like this. They don't look good on me. So it either has to be all the way or a little bit, V-necks actually look a little bit better, but I get what I can. So with this, I did the same thing. I knit probably up to about here when I realized I had only changed 1 needle from the 9s to the 10.5s. That happens to me quite a little bit as well. And so I did both of them the exact same. So if there's any weird discrepancy in the gauge, they're going to both be the same. And I figured it's at the forearm. There really isn't going to be that big of a deal at the forearm. If it had been my bicep, that would be a different story because I do need a little bit more room in there. And then you knit the back as you do the front until you get to a certain point. And I didn't pay attention to what that certain point was. And I just knit the, it was so, you know, it's funny. You ever knitting something and you go, this really doesn't seem right. Why would the designer do this? Well, probably because the designer didn't do that and you're not following the directions. Yes, I know there are errors. People can make errors, but when it's kind of really strange, just look at it again. Stop what you're doing and look at it again, because the chances are is that you're the one not reading the directions right. Or maybe it's just me. So I knit the whole thing like this. I'm like, why would she knit this like that? That's just insane. That's just too strange. So I even added some more rows to the back to make them. No, you're only supposed to knit to about here and then the whole thing flat back and forth. I actually did do 2 rows of, oh my gosh, wrap and turn, so that I'd have just a little, like half an inch more in the back, so that that would be there. And you can't see it. It's, oops, it's over there. But anyway, so that should get done. And probably the only reason why this one got done so fast is because the sleeves were so big. If I ever make a featherweight with long sleeves, oh, I don't know if I'll ever get it done. I'll have to do the sleeves first. So anyway, that is my disasters and what is I've been working on. That was pretty much it. I didn't work on any other knitting at all. Spinning though, I do have some spinning to talk about. I'm going to pick up my notebook again really quick. Sorry. So, while I was at Sunday at my friend's, I started spinning this. I'm going to take it out of the bag. This is a bat that I got at Sheep and Wool probably 5 years ago. Something like that. It's really nice. It's alpaca and wool 50-50 blend, and it's from Spinning Fate. Let me look at this again. Hold on. No, Touch of Fate. Touch of Fate. And it's a spinnery. They're from New York. No, they're from Connecticut. From Portland, Connecticut. And I bought 8 ounces. I don't have 4 of them on here. There is a lot on here. I'm doing a woolen long draw spin on this because being this fluffy bat, I wanted to try to keep that going. I was hoping to get half of it on here and half of it on the other one so that I can just spin them together. I'm going to weigh it again and see if I actually could split that in thirds then. Oops, I'm so sorry. So we'll see. I did weigh it, but I was just looking basically in my head to see if I had half of it on there, and I didn't. So there's more than half left. If I could make a 3-ply, that would be fine. If not, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Maybe I could spin enough of the other one and then divide the other half and have 2 small skeins. Oh, we're going to talk about skeins. Honey, get off that, please. But he's sitting on the yarn. So I did actually get that last skein plied of the Ashland Bay yarn. And I don't know if you can see this. That's horrible. This is what happened was I wound up spinning most of one bobbin thicker than the other 2, so I had a lot left over on the other 2, and I was like, oh, I'll just make a 2-ply. But when I started going through it, it was so thin that it was really big difference between what I was spinning over here, which is this one, which is kind of like a worsted light worsted. So I decided to 3-ply, to chain ply each single that I had left. And even some of those were coming out. This is a 3-ply. Really thin compared to the 3-ply over here. Okay, so the one that's got 2, hang on. Well, you know what? I think I just have a really big mess here. I don't even know what I'm going to do with it. The gauge is all over the place. None of it really looks fabulous. I think I got really bored spinning it, and it's just not consistent at all. You can see this one skein actually looks the best out of all of it. But the rest of them, it does not look that nice. I'm not sure what's going to happen to it. I love the color, I love all of that, but it's not the consistency that I was looking for, and now I've got something in my eye. So that'll teach me to pay attention more what I'm doing, and maybe actually having a piece of the other stuff that I've plied next to the wheel, or just like a little piece there so I can be more consistent, because I had the spinning wheel, I didn't have the other bobbins, I wasn't sure how thick couldn't remember how thick I was spinning it. Yeah, a little bit of a mess, but that's okay. That's how we learn, right? Just having fun. So what else I want to talk to you about? Oh, so spinning. So I went up to the farm, the Dancing You farm, and I bought some fleeces. Their sheep are so cute. I can't even get over how adorable they are. I went out to go visit them after I picked up my fleeces, and they were weighing everything and tallying up my bill. And this sheep way out near the hay feeder started making this crazy noise, and then just came running over, put her face right in my face at the gate, and was like, can you pet me, please? I'm like, of course I could pet you. Just put her under her chin, her little face, everywhere. She just, this little Morit, beautiful. I mean, they're just stunning. It was a very windy day. They had plenty of fleece on them, and they were just, the fleece is flying in the wind, and I was hoping to, oh wait, you know what, I have a picture right here on my phone, but I'm gonna have to run soon, but we'll continue on as soon as I get back. But okay, let me see if I can turn this sideways. So here are some of the sheep, and I was hoping to make it so that on my iPad so you can see bigger. They're so cute, just the cutest things ever. And they're so sweet people, just really, really nice. If you happen to be at Rhinebeck, I don't know if they're going to bring their fleeces to Rhinebeck next year. Heidi is, I think she's an apprentice of some kind, and I'm not sure if she's still going to be part of the guild next year or not. I don't know, but you never know. If Mike, I think her name is, it's Mike, but her name is not really Mike, it's something else, but everybody calls her Mike. Super nice lady. And maybe she'll bring her fleeces down if you happen to be at Rhinebeck and you see them at the Ulster County Spinning Guild, because that is the guild she belongs to. You can actually when you're in that guild, you can bring your wares. They have 2 booths mixed together. Amazing fleece, absolutely amazing. So I picked up a few. I picked up some grays and a black one and some whites and some morits, and they're gorgeous. Now I have to get to washing. I have to go get some more wool wash. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about before I turn this off. I've got 10 minutes. Okay, so let's talk about Craftsy. So you all know that I took a bunch of Craftsy classes, and I told you I'd tell you about them as we came along. Well, I'm sure you're probably not interested in the art classes that I took, but I did take 2 knitting related classes. I took knitting the knitting brioche by Nancy Marchand. And I also have her book, as you can see, and I've had her book for a while, but I lent it out for a little bit, and then I got it back, and I still didn't really look at it. I was kind of like, oh yeah, I totally love brioche. It's an amazing looking thing, but it seems very complicated. Well, the class on Craftsy is very clear on how to do this. The book has photos as well. I mean, I don't think she'll kill me if I show you a photo, right? Very, very nice photos. Everything is photos. But when you're watching someone do it, I think it's even more helpful. So for me, the 2 kind of go hand in hand, because even though there are a couple of, I want to say recipe again. What is wrong with me? Patterns. Thank you. Although there are a couple of patterns in the class, there is much more in this book. Like there are complete garments. They're beautiful. I mean, I'm really impressed with these garments in here and accessories. So I do think that it's worth it to buy both. I wouldn't just do one or the other. I'm actually very happy that I have the Craftsy class, and I'm very happy that I have the book. And I'm even happier that they are both together. The other class I took is the Fit to Flatter by Amy Herzog. And I'm really enjoying that class as well. I used to figure a lot of these things out for myself because my body proportions are very different than the schematics that have been given, which is one of the reasons why I know that I usually lengthen my thing so that I can also accommodate a larger bust without having to use too much. Like I never really wanted to knit a large, even though my bust size was more of a larger size at that time. So to keep it more, because I'm very hourglass, to keep it more of an hourglass shape, I wanted to keep the waist where I actually had a waist, because then I tend to look like I'm pregnant and I don't look like I'm, you know, not in a paper sack, which is why I don't usually wear bulky yarn. So we're going to see what happens when I make that bulky turtleneck, how much that's going to look strange. I usually don't wear a lot of bulky yarn, but I do love Hitsu. It's beautiful. I didn't even tell you. It's Hitsu. I'm not even sure how to spell it. I always have to look it up. But it's a very bulky yarn. It's very fast to knit, and I just wanted something colorful. And if I don't like it, what I can do is rip off the collar and cut down the center and put some type of edging in it and make it a cardigan. It's not that big of a deal. So I don't feel like all is lost with this if it doesn't look nice on me, which is one of the reasons why I didn't like that the other one closed up, because I just looked like I was getting swallowed up because it's a little tighter. Jury's still out on, I have the stuff to make that coat with the bulky coat, but maybe it'll be a little different. But it would have been nice to have had it over the weekend, because I wore something else that would have gone nice with my outfits. So I definitely want to get cracking on that. But anyway, Amy Herzog, I'm tangenting, I'm sorry. The class is really informative. It's laid out very clearly. She goes through a lot of things that I didn't figure out on my own, different types of bust darts, and I had come across some and I had tried them. I had done short rows. I did a tank top and I did short rows this way to increase for the bust that way. It's it sometimes can be very noticeable depending on the type of yarn that you're using, but it did work. So, you know, if you want to change your knitting to fit your body perfectly, this class is really, really good. And I got it for $20 because it was on sale. And you can find a lot of Craftsy classes on sale. They'll send you a little notice. Right now, I think there's a wish list thing going on, and everything you can win X amount of something that's in your wish list. So go put some things in your wish list. Maybe you'll get lucky and you'll win. What else was I going to tell you about? There was something else really quick before 5 minutes from now. Well, the sale is at Udemy. Yeah, I guess there was something else. Oh, Knitpicks is having a sale right now, and I want to talk about that a little bit too. We'll talk about that when I get back about the yarn. I will not be purchasing any yarn, even though there are some really good deals to be had. If you like and appreciate Knitpicks yarn, you might want to get over there and check out their sale. I did put a few things in my cart and then I changed my mind, but we'll talk about that when I get back. So anyway, I will see you shortly. Hello, I'm back. Just had a quick little thing to take care of. So let's go into our recipes and tips. So I think if any of you listened to before, I had bought a bunch of butternut squash, and there's a little funny story about that too. So at my Adams, which has local produce, which is nice, they had a butternut squash on sale for 49 cents a pound, or 69 cents. 49 cents a pound. And I had a cart full of it. And I'm walking around the store, seeing what else I needed, and people are coming up to me going, what are you going to do with all that squash? And I'm like, it keeps. So as long as you get one that doesn't have damage on the outside, it'll keep all winter long. It doesn't last that long in my house because I really love it, but I wound up running into this one lady. Actually, I was talking to her husband first, and we were talking about soup recipes, and so he wanted my soup recipe. I told him about it, and then she came and got me and wrote it all down, and it was so cute. Gave me a big hug afterwards, so I hope they're enjoying their butternut squash soup. But yes, I have all this butternut squash, and so I also bought a couple of pomegranates because I actually wanted to paint them. And I'm not getting any chance to paint anytime soon, so I'm like, you better eat them. So here in my what do I call a zip file is and I've got glare, I apologize, butternut squash and pomegranate salad. So you can search, you can put recipes in your recipe section down in the bottom. You can then go ahead and put it into a list. So like I said before, it's really handy because not only is it on your iPad, so I can take my iPad in the kitchen with me instead of having to bring my computer in there when I'm making the recipe, or I can take the phone with me to the store and do my shopping list. So I found that to be really helpful. And if any of you know, I don't usually seek out stuff in the store to make very particular recipes. I kind of shop around and look what's good, look what I like, what is as fresh as I can, and then I just bring it home, make sure I have certain categories. Like I always make sure I have greens, I always make sure I have my staples, which would be garlic. Eat a lot of garlic. Onions, eat a lot of onions. Things like that. Like I just know that I need to have the basic stuff that I always have to whip up whatever I can when I don't, because I don't always follow recipes, but every once in a while it's nice to try something different. So I didn't have walnuts, so I wound up getting some walnuts and some greens, so anyway, the salad is great. I will really do show notes this time. I haven't the last 2 times. I've been very busy. Buddy wants to say hello. Hi, Bunyan. Gorgeous face. So I will do show notes and I will post that recipe in there. It's really nice. You roast the butternut squash first, and I did have it with butternut squash roasted and then cooled, and then I've also roasted the butternut squash and put it right into the salad and had it for dinner that way. So either warm or cold, it tastes fantastic. And if you don't know anything about pomegranates, they're really, really good, and I just started eating them starting last year. I think might have been Paula from the Knitting Pipeline podcast that was talking about pomegranates, and I'm like, never had one of those. I don't do it underwater. I cut it in half and then I peel around the outside, And then it kind of just breaks out and I pop them out and I don't really get any juice anywhere. But apparently you can also cut them open and take it apart underwater and it doesn't get juice everywhere. But I found that to be more cumbersome than just picking it apart. But to each his own, you find out what works for you and go from there. So anyway, that is the recipe of the week. And I did not come up with it, but it is really fantastic. I do, however, I've talked to you before, I do like citrus or sweet with garlic. Now today you're going to go like for breakfast, really? I eat eggs pretty much every day for breakfast now, which is something you might want to try. Not eggs for breakfast. The breakfast experiment. So we'll go into that in a second. Let me just finish telling you about what I had today. I had some persimmons, which I really, really enjoy, but they have to be ripe. If they're not ripe, they have a weird flavor. And I do like the flatter ones versus the taller ones, but they only have the taller ones at the store. So I got some persimmons. And I like that tang of garlic with the sweet. Like I love to put oranges or grapefruits in my salad with raw garlic. And you're like, really? Raw garlic? I eat raw garlic like it's going out of style. I don't know what happened and what switch went in my brain to actually love raw garlic, but now I prefer it raw and I will cook with it last. I've mentioned before, put it in at the end so that the flavor is a little bit more tangy than mild. But in a regular salad, I'll put 4 cloves of garlic. It's pretty crazy. So this morning for breakfast, I had eggs. I made an omelet, or not an omelet, I just made scrambled eggs, and then I also had those persimmons that really needed to get eaten, and I was like, wow, I bet you they would taste really good with garlic and feta cheese. Oh my God. It was great. All it was chopped up persimmons, chopped up raw garlic, and feta cheese. And between the sweet and the tangy of the cheese and the garlic, oh my gosh, that was really, really good. So get crazy in your kitchen, try stuff, put things together, see what you like. It might not, you might not know till you give it a try. So anyway, so let's go back to a breakfast experiment. So I think I told you before, maybe, I'm not sure, I don't remember. I was eating oatmeal and the oatmeal is not holding me anymore. And I'm finding that my body is doing much better on eggs. And I am a vegetarian, I'm not a vegan, so I do eat eggs and cheese. Try not to eat a lot of cheese, but what I do eat of cheese is good quality cheese. Good quality, I mean, like I'm not eating a processed cheese. I'm eating cheeses that I believe came from healthy animals that were not fed garbage food. And that's a whole nother topic all in itself because we're going to talk about that in 1 second. It's going to be a long show. I've got so much to talk to you about. It's crazy. So anyway, I'm finding that the eggs are working out really well for me, and I make sure that I buy eggs from chickens who are running around and living happy lives because that is important to me. We make these decisions ourselves. I'm not basing it on the price because the price for me might be a little high. It's $5.50 for a dozen eggs, but I'm making up for that price somewhere else by not buying junk food. So I might spend a little more on my eggs because that is important to me to make sure that the animal is healthy and happy and I'm healthy and happy that I'm eating this. It's symbiotic that I don't want to, it's kind of like the energy of the food. Symbiotic might not have been the right word, but so happens when you just start talking and you don't really I didn't know I was going to be talking about this. So anyway, I feel that there's energy in food. And so if food is grown in loving and caring way and that nothing is getting harmed or destroyed, I'm much happier. And I'm sure the food has got better energy than if it is coming from a place where the animal is not in a good place. It's using poor quality ingredients that's being fed to the animal. Like I just don't want to have any part of it. I'd rather eat less and pay more for good quality for both of us because that's just where I'm at. And that might not be where you're at. So, you do what you want. It's just something that I've noticed for me works better. And I appreciate those eggs. And I eat probably 4 eggs a day. And you're going, oh my God. Well, I'm very healthy. I haven't noticed anything wrong. All my blood comes back fine, and I have really good energy. The eggs are a good source of protein for me because that is probably the only source of protein, real protein, that I'm getting. So anyway, it's up to us to find out individualistically what is working for us. And this may change because oatmeal used to work fine for me, but it's not working anymore. My body is changing. It doesn't really respond that great to it. Yeah, it tastes great. And I may eat it every once in a while, but it's not going to be the thing that I'm going to eat when I need to have be feeling satisfied for a long period of time. So try that experiment. Eat different things and pay attention to what is going on with your body, because not every body is the same. So that is why one diet does not work for everyone. And you can't expect the same results if someone is doing this over here and it's not working for you. It's probably because it's just not right for your body. There are some people who really need to eat different types of protein in order to feel really good. And there are other people who can go without. So know your body, pay attention. Which is another thing I was going to show you. Where is it? I subscribe to a lot of blogs, and some of them are cooking. A lot of them are knitting and spinning, but 101 Cookbooks. And that is 101cookbooks.com. I really like that website. They have some interesting things. And right now, there is a whole recipe file that you can click on links for vegetarian ideas for Thanksgiving. So I get asked this a lot. There are a lot of people who are considering cutting back on the meat, and they don't really know how to do it. Well, for me, it's never really been a difficult concept. But when you're used to eating meat at every meal and not being, I'm not going to feel satisfied if I don't, then you really need to find other ways. And most of the time I tell people to try mushrooms because there's a texture in them that's very meat-like and very satisfying. And a few other little tips, but they're escaping me right now because now I'm like talking about, again, something I wasn't even planning on, except for that I did remember this website last minute. So if you are one of those people who is like, well, hey, I'd like to try some more vegetarian meals, maybe even along with the reduced meat portions. And I'm not saying don't eat meat, because there are people who really need that meat protein. Like I said, figure out what works for you. What isn't healthy is to eat over the amount that what your body needs. Eat higher quality meat. You can find grass-fed, free-range meat, organic meat. You can find all of these things, and the key is to eat less but eat better quality, because we don't really need large amounts of protein. We need just enough for your body. Okay, so you can check that out, and if you are a vegetarian and you would like some more vegetarian recipes, by all means check out that site. I love the blog. It's great if you like to look at nice photography and different kinds of dishes. I would give them a look. Okay, so I also wanted to talk to you about packaging, because packaging, whether we like it or not, is a consumption of our food. It's also like the delivery is also another part of the food chain that comes with when we buy food. It comes packaged in something, and it's delivered on a truck or on a train or from far away, or maybe it's close by. So these are all considerations when you're buying food to think about and what's important to you. So and this is, again, these are things that are important to you. I'm just going to share what's important to me. I've expressed this before. I don't like GMOs, so I really want to make sure the food that I'm buying is not putting money in Monsanto's pocket, because that is not where I want my money to go. So unless dairy products are marked organic in the United States, I won't buy them. I mean, if I'm out to eat with people, I can ask things. I can ask for substitutions by all means, but I'm not going to stop totally enjoying my life and going out with my friends and doing things. So I do the best that I can. If I go over to my family's house, I'm not going to be like, can you make this such and such? You know, you just kind of like make do with what's going on and just be aware. And you can talk to things talk about these things with your friends and your family to make them more aware in a way that's not pushy and demanding, just for awareness, because once people know, they can make the choices themselves, which is what I'm doing for you. I'm hoping that I'm bringing some things to the table that you may not know, and then you can know, and then you can make the choices for yourself and your family, which do you want to do. And now I've got something back in my eye again. So anyway, I do like to buy local. I like to support local farmers. I like to do all of that. However, I don't buy cheese unless it's the organic or GMO free, which is kind of rare here to find. It's a little bit more tricky to find. So I do buy European cheeses because, as far as I know, they are not feeding GMO corn to the animals that make the milk so that they can produce the cheese. So now I have transportation issues. But I figure my rationale is the transportation issue is less than the GMO issue, which I'm trying to avoid. So I do buy vegetables as locally as I can, and sometimes they may not be organic because I want to support the local farmers as much as I can as well. But I want to do so with ones that are in a more sustainable environment and sometimes it's hard for them to get certified because it costs a lot of money. But you can actually talk to these people. It's like they're there on the farm and say, hey, what's going on? How do you raise your vegetables? You know, don't be afraid to ask and talk to them, because the more people that show interest in these things, the more it's going to be more available, because that's what people are going to want. And it's the same thing when you go to a restaurant. Don't be afraid to ask for things. When you're at the store, don't be afraid to ask. At my Adams, I had a little chat with them the other day about all the packaging. They put 2 cookies, not that I'm buying their cookies, in a big plastic container like this, 2 flat cookies. And so I was like, hey, you know, do you really think that that's necessary? They thought I was crazy, but we'll talk to the bakery department, letting people know that you're aware. And the same thing, I was like, your organic department, I don't buy a lot of things because it's packaged in styrofoam and plastic or the big plastic containers. I would buy more of it if you didn't do that, and I think a lot of other people would as well. Let them know. The feta cheese that I buy, they usually put it in this little flat plastic container, the hard plastic, and I asked them if I could buy a big block and just not put it in the plastic, and they put it in a bag for me. So ask. It never hurts to ask. Once we start letting people know that we're into not having all this extra packaging, and we're into local, we're into organic, we're into all these things, we're looking for them, chances are that once they see the interest, they will provide it. I also went to my local Nature's Pantry and asked them what their views are on GMOs. I said, by the way, did you know a lot of the stuff that you have all this in your bins has soy oil in it, and if it's not marked organic, it's a GMO? Like, oh, we didn't know that. Okay, well, now you know. What are you going to do about it? I haven't been back to talk to them, but I will. Because, you know, now that they know, they're either going to make the decision, yes, we want to move in that direction, or no. And then I'll know where they're headed, right? That was awfully chatty. I'm sorry. So what else did I want to talk to you about? Apple chips. So here's another recipe for you. And this comes from my friend who hosted our spinning party the other day. And if you do not have a dehydrator, you can still make this recipe, because that is how she made it. And I used to have one and I don't anymore. You take an apple and you cut it into very thin slices, thin for crispy, thicker for chewy, and you spread it on a cookie sheet, and you bake it for 200 degrees for an hour, and then you flip them and you another hour at 200 degrees. And then she just put cinnamon on it. Not cinnamon sugar, just plain cinnamon, and very lightly. Those were the best apple chips I've ever had in my life. Seriously. No oil, no sugar, no nothing, just the apple and cinnamon. And I was going to make some yesterday, and I didn't because I had to go do something, and I wasn't home. But shoot, and I won't have time today. But tomorrow maybe I will have time to pop them in, because, you know, if I've got 2 hours where I'm around in the house and it's cold out. You might as well warm up the kitchen with some making apple chips. They were so fantastic. I have a picture for you. This is one of the ones I wanted to share with you, and I didn't realize it was on here. This is the place where I'm moving to, so that you can finally go, oh, I get it. I get why you're leaving. So this is the lake, and that's me up on those rocks. And if you see where that lake splits into two, I'm on, oops, oh, this finger here. Ah, shoot. I just made it big. But my town is over here. That little lump in the middle is Bellagio. And you can take the ferry from my town to Bellagio, or you can go across the lake to Verona. Isn't that beautiful? Let me show you one more picture with, this is a picture looking to, Lake Lugano, and then that's the Swiss Alps back there. It's all glary, I'm sorry, but isn't it beautiful? I love to hike, so for me, this is the most amazing thing ever. I get the most crazy energy climbing up there. I could like run up the hill, and I just feel so alive. It's amazing. So now you see, I just almost dropped my iPad. Why I love it so much. What else did I want to share with you? The apple chips, I think that was it. How many minutes am I? Gosh, this is probably long, but I wonder if I'm forgetting anything. I always click, then I'm done, and then I forget something. Oh, and I've got more stuff going off. So I guess that's it. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you. Up next, and I don't have the picture of it, but I bought, where is it? I don't even know where it is. I bought some purple yarn to make my niece a dress. Did I tell you what she wanted? I don't even remember, because that whole time when I recorded and didn't air it, and then the other time I recorded and it got lost, I'm not sure what I said and did tell you and didn't tell you, and then I haven't done show notes a couple times either. So anyway, she wanted a purple dress knitted with purple fairy wings with green on top, pink shoes with purple flowers. So I know I could do the dress part. I found that, and I bought the yarn. It's here. I need to make that. And the shoes, I might get Nikki Epstein's knitted flowers and see if I can make some type of a purple knitted flower that she could clip on some shoes, and might leave the shoes up to the parents because I don't know how to make shoes. And the wings, I'm not even sure. If you got a clue on how to make wings that'll last, send me a note, please, because I'm not exactly sure how to do that. But it should be fun. So I've got to get cracking on that. I'll probably put these together and get that off my plate, and then, well, actually I can, I just need to make those sleeves. That won't take more than 10 minutes, and then putting it together shouldn't take too long. But got to get started on that, because I want to get my gift box out to them for Christmas, because they don't live around here. They live a few states away, and so it needs to go in the mail, and I want them to have it for Christmas. I'll probably be blowing them a Christmas ornament too. Maybe I can show you that on the podcast. We have a place called Hudson Beach Glass where you can go and learn how to make Christmas ornaments. And probably next week, I don't want to get up and show you, but I have a paperweight that I made as well. It's over there. And a Christmas ornament that I made. I made 2 last year, one I gave to them and one I kept. And I'm planning on doing that this year since I'm here. Otherwise I'd have to go to Murano to do that. And I don't even know if they let you play like that over there. I know they make everything, but I don't know if they let you actually play. Hudson Beach Glass, you can get right in there and do it all. It's so fun. If you've never made your own ornament or a paperweight or done anything with glass, see if you have a place that's around that can do it, or anything that will get your creativity flowing. I'm sure there are places. We have places around here where you can fire pottery, and there's all sorts of artsy fun things to do. And if you don't want to invest in equipment, which is very pricey and expensive, take a class, learn something new. It never hurts to learn something new. It could be your next passion that you didn't even know about. I really, really enjoy working with glass. It's just, right now, there's so many things I want to do. So I do little bits and pieces of lots of different things. Anyway, I'm babbling now, so I'm going to stop. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I will see you after Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you people in the United States. We celebrate that on this Thursday, and I am going over to my family's house, which will be lots of fun, I'm sure. So enjoy yourselves. Take care. I will talk to you soon. Thanks. Ciao.